Jason Wells with MLM Complete Package. And I want to discuss something that people just don't like to talk about, but it needs to be discussed, which is FDA violations. And when you're in wellness, nutrition, our company's actually in that area. And I know a lot of other people out there are in the wellness nutrition industry. When you're making claims about your product, it's a big problem for all of us. And what made me talk about this is we all have people on Facebook that they're in other companies and they're promoting their product. And I've seen one company in particular, and not from one person, I've seen multiple people in this particular company making medical claims. And I think they do it because it's sexy. I think some of the people are attracted to it because they see that kind of stuff. I've always found, on a side note, that the type of people that are attracted to claims are not the people that end up being long-term customers. That's just been my experience, because I have people in my company that sometimes do that stuff. It happens in every company until compliance advises them that, hey, you can't do this, because some people just don't know. And what they've reported is, in the end, they found that a lot of these people didn't stick. Whereas the people that stick with you on a long-term basis are people that just understand that your product can help them, it makes them feel better, and that general well-being and that feeling better is okay to talk about. But talking about curing, mitigating, any type of, trying to think of, cure, mitigation, any type of effect on an illness or something it's not allowed. And I've just seen it happen a lot out there, and I've seen it from people sharing videos from, people that are uplines in their company that should really know better. And I'm going to tell you, don't do it. It's real tempting to do this, but I can tell you it catches up with you. And I'll tell you a quick story on how this can affect you long term. When I started out in my company, there was another company that was kind of a thorn in my side. And I say that because a lot of my prospects I talked to would bring that company up, and they would be talking about how people pitch them. And one of the common things they would say is, well, they said their product cures this or does that. Does your product do that? And I would laugh and say, well, I know everyone's passionate about their product. I know everyone knows what they know in their heart. But when you start sharing things like what you just shared with me, that's a medical claim. And I'm not going to do that. All I can do is show you how my product is manufactured, what makes us different, and why I think we're better. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you it cures stuff. If that's what you need to hear, then you need to go join them. Well, most of the people end up joining my team anyways, because in the end they could see that I knew what I was doing, but they were still a thorn in my side. And, I don't know the exact numbers on this because I read it a long time ago, so don't quote me on it. And since I'm not mentioning names, you can't hold me to it. But the point is, the story is going to give you a lesson on why you shouldn't do this. So I think the company at some point tipped $700 million. They got real close. They were up there, somewhere around there. But this stuff was going on, these claims. I mean, a lot of their distributor base were doing it. And when you have that many distributors doing it, it means their compliance department really isn't enforcing the policy. Because if there's that many people on that grand of a scale making claims, they got to know about it. And that's what the FDA assumes. When there's a few distributors, and, every company has them where they're doing that stuff, sometimes the company doesn't know, and eventually they catch up with them. But when you have a lot of people doing it, the company should know. And this is purely speculation on my part, in my opinion. I think they were aware of it, or they didn't do a strong job of stopping it, whatever. The point is, they got themselves in trouble with the FDA, and currently they're well under $300 million. So If that much sales were affected, that means distributors' downlines were affected, their customer base was affected, which means their incomes went down, and that ultimately leads to not a good situation for you, particularly if you're working towards where Chris and I are at, which is a full-time income. I can't be having my company get into trouble with the FDA because of a few distributors that are doing idiot moves of doing FDA things. And so it's an idiot move now because you know better. Okay, if you didn't know, you know now, and you shouldn't do it. And it's really that simple. And some arguments I've heard from people. Well, it's a free country. It's free speech. I can say what you want. No. Again, now this is where I'm bringing my legal background in. You're misapplying the law. First Amendment allows free speech, but we're talking about commercial speech, which is a restriction on free speech. These are landmark Supreme Court cases from a long time ago. Anytime you have commercial speech, they can regulate you. So the FDA has decided that if you're a wellness or nutrition company, you have to have a disclaimer on your website, and your distributor base can't be going around telling people that it cures things or helps things. Even if you believe in your heart, in your mind, that doing blah, blah, blah made your migraines go away or whatever. I don't know. I've seen all kinds of things that people say. You can't share that. You just can't do it. And you particularly don't want to do it in a public forum like Facebook or somewhere where it's written, because that's proof that you did it. Whereas if you say it to somebody else out and about, it's going to be hard for them to prove that. Now, I'm not saying you do that behind their back, because you may be able to get away with it, because, again, it catches up with you. But I'm just saying that, you can't think that, oh, it's a free country, I can say whatever I want, because there are rules, and you have to follow them. So why am I making this a subject when it comes to MLM training? Well, two reasons. One, we all have a responsibility in MLM to be doing the right thing. We're representing the whole community. Two, if you're in the wellness and nutrition industry, we already have enough problems. We don't need the FDA putting their attention on us any more than they already are. Three, if you have to commit FDA violations and make claims in order to get customers or to get distributors in your business, you're being trained wrong and you're doing the business wrong, because I never need to do this. I don't have to do it. And I don't have any problem sponsoring and recruiting people and getting customers, nor do my downline. This is not something you have to do. So this is a great place for me to plug our products. If you're doing this and you don't feel like you can get your product out there and grow your business without doing it, then you need to go through our Complete Networker course, which you can find on our MLMCompletePackage website. And you need to go through there's a customer package, which includes 2 courses. It's the communication course and the customer endorsement course. You need to figure that out, because you can't go out there and be telling people that your product is making this go away or that go away, because I'm telling you, it's going to catch up with you. And if the FDA doesn't catch up with your company, which I hope it doesn't go that far, your compliance department, if they're good, and I say if they're good, because if they're not following up with the distributors and stopping this garbage, like, your company's in for it in the long term. Our company's pretty aggressive on this, and it annoys the distributors sometimes. No one likes to get a compliance call. I get it. But in the end, all they're trying to do is keep everyone out of trouble and keep us all safe. So, if the FDA doesn't get your company, your compliance department will get you. And when I say get you, sometimes some companies have discipline that they'll do. Sometimes you'll get a warning. Most companies do that. But if you make a pattern of this, or you do something really egregious, meaning something really bad before you get caught, you're probably going to get disciplined, because the companies oftentimes, if you get caught in a situation where the FDA notices it and you're in the middle of that, even if it's your first kind of slap on the wrist situation, they're going to make an example out of you. And those could be fines all up to getting your distributorship canceled. So that's how most companies work. I wanted to talk about this because I felt like, it's not something You probably feel like I'm being the mom who's shaking his finger at you. You know, yeah, maybe. But, you know, for those of you out there that are doing this stuff, you might not have known. Like maybe no one ever told you this. And so if you're doing this stuff, you need to find another way to promote your product or business. And that's what I wanted to talk about this week. So I hope this was helpful. Maybe you hate me a little bit right now because I'm affecting the way you build your business and what I'm saying. But hey, I'm just trying to help you, and I'm just trying to keep you out of trouble.